Hey everybody, Trey here. I'm here in northern Oregon at Cannon Beach. Thanks everyone for the great suggestions. This has been fantastic. And there were a lot of great suggestions. I could only choose one. I chose this one. It's kind of like you guys are voting on what I do with my life, which is strange. But I want to give you a few tips as long as I'm here. It's kind of a neat situation. I'll show you how I'm setting up. And there's some things here that remind me of the Paris shot a few weeks ago. And I'll show you how my camera's set up, why I'm aiming where I'm aiming, and just a few things to look out for, because I've been in this situation a few different times. It's about 7:30, and it's still pretty bright. I'm going to stay here all the way through the sunset, so things will change a lot. But anyway, let me switch around the iPad camera to the forward-facing one, and then you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so there's a few things to look at. The sun is still high enough so that we can get some of these nice sun rays coming through holes in the clouds. We've got these giant monolithic type pillars that are shooting out of the water here, and they make for great subjects. I think they make for great subjects because they get bigger and bigger, and they're not all the same size. That's kind of neat. And you get sort of an idea of the relative size from these birds that are flapping around them. So here's a few things to look at. One is kind of like the Paris shot. If you're up here, it's pretty good, but the lower and lower you get, the more reflection you'll have. So if you get the camera down really low, then you can get all of this there, okay? And if you look up and down the beach, you see areas where the water comes in and doesn't. You see, like, I'm at this area right here, which is a little bit lower, so the water tends to come up a little bit higher, and it gives me a little, like, yikes, scoops, let's get out of here. Oh, I got my bag a little bit. It's a shame. So, anyway, like I was saying, there are areas where the water tends to come up more than other areas, like over there. So this is a good place for a nice glassy reflection. It's a little early in the night, but there is one thing that's cool about these clouds. And if you are in the plane a lot, I tend to look at the tops of clouds. Because, when we're on the ground, all we see is the bottoms of clouds. But the tops of clouds is what catches the light and kind of refracts it down through. So these are low clouds, but the tops, I know, are billowy, like cotton candy. And what will happen as the sun gets lower and lower in the atmosphere is it will catch them in sort of an orangey pink way. So we'll see splotches of orange and pinks come through, and it'll be intermixed with sort of a soft blue color. So this will be very nice later tonight, I think. And we'll just do lots of different compositions with these rocks and the clouds and the sky and reflections, and can't really go wrong. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I have moved further down the beach here. I've walked about a quarter mile down to change my composition, and I will tell you a little bit about that and why I did it. So there's basically 3 rocks here, okay? And see this middle rock here? We'll call that middle rock. So middle rock is actually about 400 feet closer to me than the left rock. And as I'm kind of translating orthogonal to the rocks here, you can see that the middle rock and the left rock are getting closer together. If I were to keep going about another 1/8 of a mile, it would actually cover it up, okay? So that means that the further I walk down here, the more separation it gets, and it means you can translate yourself up and down the beach until you arrive at a separation of these that's interesting to you, okay? So why did I choose this particular position for my camera? Well, I'll explain my reasoning, although it may be kind of inscrutable, but I'll explain it nonetheless. So first of all, by the way, I should let you know that I'm using a wide-angle lens here. This is a 14 to 24 lens, on my Nikon D3X, and it can see a lot wider than the iPad can. The iPad is probably only 50 millimeters, okay? So that means that this lens can see about twice as wide. It can probably see from about right here all the way over to about right there, okay? So as I pan this back and forth, I'm just trying to show what the lens will finally see. So anyway, I've set this up so that it makes sort of beautiful structural sense to me. And I do see the world in terms of phi and the golden ratio. And what I've done here is I've taken these three structures and lined them up according to the ratio of 1 to 1.618, which is the golden ratio. And I'll see if I can explain that in a slightly different way. So let's look at the peaks of each of these. Let's look at the peak of the left one, the middle one, and the right one. Okay, so let's say that there is 100 units distance between those two. Well, then the distance from the middle peak to the right peak would be 161.8. All right, so if you line this stuff up, it just kind of makes a beautiful sense. And of course, the casual viewer doesn't think anything about this, but they just kind of know beauty when they see it. And if things feel balanced, and if things feel nice, then it kind of helps the whole picture achieve something that's soft and nice, and just kind of makes a beautiful natural sense.